Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Liv.
And this is the Mach-E vlog.
And today we are here in Denver for Electrify Expo. We're going to take you along for all the adventures, cars and coffee, the expo itself, and an intimate interview with BJ Birtwell, the Electrify Expo owner himself. So let's go. Obviously, we are not currently at Electrify Expo. Electrify Expo actually happened in the past, but it was extremely hot. It was 100 and something degrees, and we had a really hard time filming. So we decided to do this part, this talking to you portion, later in air conditioning, where we could actually function. So there were a ton of adventures that we had over the course of Electrify Expo weekend, which is longer than a weekend, actually.
Thursday through Sunday, basically, for us.
Yeah, and we want to share all about them with you. Starting with Thursday, we were actually able to take part in Electrify Expo's Electrified review, where they wanted to connect with people who actually own the EVs. In this case, Mach-E owner and our friend Marlene and Les. You might have seen Les in one of our videos. They did the Lightning and Mach-E version. So they wanted to connect with actual owners and get footage and learn about like what it's really like living with these cars. So we were able to do a drive session and a filming session with them.
We did a filming session on Sunday with them, but we did a driving segment on Thursday. Not sure when that's going to come out. Check the description. If we do have any details on it, we'll update this description, and we'll post it, of course, on our social media channels whenever that's live. But that was sort of like a little added bonus that we got to do, and we're very pleased to do. And the whole idea behind Electrified Review is to help introduce people to EVs with reviews, but not necessarily like, let's find every little thing that's wrong with it, but like ask owners, like, how is it to live with this car? And tell us what you like about it. So that's what we did. We told them what we liked. So that was really exciting. Friday was sort of like an off day with Electrify Expo, except I had to go back because I left one of our cameras in the car. But then the other festivities started on Saturday morning with another Ford EV Cars and Coffee to kick off an Electrify Expo weekend. If you saw, we did one in Long Beach with them this year. We know that like last year they were doing Cars and Coffee. I believe they already did Phoenix this year. Next up is San Francisco. We may try to go to that one. Not sure yet, but I believe they have Seattle, Austin, New York, DC left. I'm not sure. Check Electrify Expo's website. But for the Ford part, the Cars and Coffee is at most, but not all, of the Electrify Expos. So we were very lucky to get another one. And it was just really cool because it was like right here in Denver where we lived for 20 years. And just really neat to reconnect with people and to see all of the EVs here in Denver.
Yeah, and we had a fantastic turnout. There were about 64 vehicles, EVs of various variety. There were Lucid, there was Bolt, there was apparently a Silverado even that I didn't see.
I saw it. I didn't get footage of it, but
so there was a ton of EVs, but it was great to have Ford support this event because they did things like they supplied breakfast, quesadillas being made by the pirate chef, or Yar. And that was powered by a Lightning, of course. There were video games in front of the Lightning in the Mega Power Front. There was coffee. They did ride and drives right there. So if people wanted to drive the Rally or the GT or the Lightning, they could do it right there, easy peasy. So there was like no line or whatever. There was, what else was there? Oh, swag. There was a giveaway.
There's not really a raffle, but like a giveaway. So it was just a really fun time to connect with everybody, and we all were excited. And then Ford basically gave out wristbands so that you could get into Electrify Expo for free for everybody that RSVP'd and then showed up. So that was fantastic. Everybody was like really excited by that. It was already getting warm. I believe by the time we left, it was in the 90s. It was like 8 to 10 a.m., but we stayed a little bit late.
So part of the reason that we're sharing this with you like this in this sort of storytelling fashion is because it was so hot that our phones started overheating. So if we have footage to share of each event, we will be sharing it as well.
Today we are at Denver Cars and Coffee being hosted by Ford, the Mustang Mach-E Club of America, the Mach-E Girls Club,
the Lightning Club.
it's going to be a fantastic time.
We are actually standing here on the Auraria campus in front of the Industrial Design Facility, which is where I went to school, though so long ago that they didn't even have this amazing building. But it's really cool and surreal to be here and to see everyone starting to appear. All the Mach-E and Lightning community. There's even a Lucid over there.
It's
I
fun.
am so excited for today.
I know EV6 is on the way.
Yes.
So we're really excited to see everybody. We have a lot of connections here. If you are new to us, like we used to live in Denver for 20 some years, we had our Mach-E, lots of meetups here. So it's just like a big extended meetup, except this time Ford is providing some breakfast, coffee.
So let's go. Bye, enjoy your test drive. See you in a bit. No way. Oh my God, you guys. I didn't even know it was you. What the hell? You brought Springroll.
We saved you a
That's
spot.
so awesome.
You see that parking garage back there?
Yeah. Top floor, right?
Top floor. And just drive it over the edge. I'm teasing.
I was just shocked that a Vinfast showed
I know, I
up,
was
but
like, a
you guys
Vinfast?
in
Oh, I
tow.
know.
Epic. Get a spot in the front.
You want to go next to
Next
us?
to the rally, same color.
Over here.
Yeah, one for free.
Okay.
Oh, well, look who's here.
Springroll's coming.
I was going to say, I know these guys.
I know these guys. I know that Springroll. Mach-E versus VF8. Which do you pick?
Oh, yeah, look at this big.
That's my mom and my friend Matt. And they both came very well prepared for this heat, and I think it's delightful and adorable that they're chatting together with their umbrellas. Bye. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun in so many ways. What time is it? Goodness, we've been here for an hour and I wanted to go capture everything, but let me flip. This has been so much fun already, and it's been an hour and we already had one Mach-E leave. It's boiling hot, don't blame him. So I wanted to do a tour and show you everything that's going on, but people might have left already. I should grab the camera, hold. Wow. Okay. This has been so much fun already. What is it? It's been an hour and 20 minutes. I feel like we should make these cars and coffees even longer because they're just so good. There's something about this community, the EV community, the Ford EV community. It's supportive, it's exciting. It's this level of excitement about vehicles that's unusual because suddenly there's this new tech that not everyone else has, and we're all learning things and we're learning about each other. Anyways, oh my gosh, as you can tell, I'm very excited. So let's do a walkthrough of the cars that are here. People have already left, so yeah, they're like blank spots where people were. We're gonna flippity flip, so buckle up. All right, so first thing, we have this beautiful shadow black Mach-E. We have this gorgeous Lightning. This is our friend Matt's. I love seeing people like showing off their cars and having a great time. And Lucid, iconic silver. We have two cyber oranges next to each other, looking so good. One of these is called Bananarama. I think it's the one on the right. We have a Polestar. We have a rapid red Mach-E, another cyber orange, and infinite blue, ice blue metallic. It's kind of cool. Let's see if we can get a little view. So we have ice blue metallic and then iconic silver. They're really interesting colors, and both, I think you can't get the ice blue metallic now anymore. You can not get iconic silver, of course. So it's always kind of cool to see what color becomes rare, you know? And speaking of rare colors, we have space white over here. It's funny, they look star white from up close with the bright sun, but these are space white. That little hint of gray, that tiny little cool tone, and this one all the way at the end I learned is Katya. So shout out to that sweet family that I met. This is their beloved Mach-E Katya, and they're going to be test driving a Lightning too. to see if they can add that to their stable. Let's keep walking around. So they're doing test drives over here. May I preface this also by saying, I don't have the temperature on my watch anymore, but it's like close to 100 degrees already. So these guys are doing test drives and signing people up over here. Yay! Glad they have some shade. And people are taking out a Rally, a GT, and a Lightning. So you can go and test drive a whole bunch of stuff. We have a Tesla. We have a Rapid Red with a red license plate. That looks pretty tight. Love it. We have, wait a minute. What is this color? Oh, carbonized gray or dark matter? Carbonized. Dark matter. I don't know, vote here. We have Glacier Gray, which is so cool. I have not seen many owner Glacier Grays yet, but it's such a cool color. Wait, is this Vapor Blue? Oh my gosh. Look at me messing stuff up. Oh, an Infinite Blue. Correct me in the comments, would you? So we have Infinite Blue, which is so amazing, and then Vapor Blue, right? Goodness. We have a cute little Bolt. Adorable. We have, is this an e-bike? Sure does look like one, a Turn. And then we have an EV6. We have, we have a special treat. We have a Lightning, many Lightnings. If you guys know Benjamin Westby, he's a really cool dude who lives off-grid with his family out in the middle of nowhere, and he has a Lightning. So I think one of these is his. I think it's the antimatter. But anyways, so over here, if you sign up, you can get into Electrify Expo for free. There's loud music there, and then they're doing giveaways and stuff. But let's avoid the music. This Lightning looks really cool in this colorway. Very cool. So this is Bluana. She's so pretty. This is not Blucifer Tucifer, it's Bluana. A couple people in Lightnings hanging out, having a great time. Look at that. Like everyone just hanging out around the cars, even in this crazy sunshine. Hey, what's up? Hey. Nice. Woo.
You guys gonna be at the event?
Yes, definitely. Yep, can't wait. Oh, awesome. Likewise.
You got the Osco. I love that.
It's very cool. I like it too.
Camera. It's a 4K camera.
Yeah.
It has it, like you can spin it around.
And it automatically syncs up to the mics.
Does it really?
Yeah, if you get the mics, the twos,
Oh, I have a Rode mic.
if you get these one, the DJI twos, I know, it's very cool. Someone's trying to be sneaky.
She's trying to not be in the video.
Do you not want to be on the video?
No, I can be.
Okay, good. What's up? Oh wait, we have to flippity flip.
Oh, this is so cute. I love this little robot.
The flippity flip. What's up?
Hello, everyone.
Francie from Out of Spec Podcast and Out of Spec Everywhere.
You're in Colorado.
We're in Colorado. You're in Colorado.
We're in
Dude,
Colorado.
We're in Colorado. Can I hold this camera straight? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you can.
Did you drive here? You did.
I drove
you
all
must
the way
have.
here in the Vinfast.
And then you're leaving it with Kyle for a while.
And then they're going to steal her from me, which I'm a little bit sad about, and I'm going to take a Tesla Model 3 home.
That's what you're taking?
Yeah.
I wondered. Okay.
I know, I was curious too what they would end up with. But
Oh, you didn't know? They were just going to like give it
I
to
was
you?
like, maybe the Rivian? But it's in the shop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's okay.
Wait, the Rivian shop's not far. We could just go break in. And
We
get
should
it.
just go. Yeah, maybe we
should
could get the
just go get-
R3X while we're there.
Dude, done. I mean, it matches my hair, so.
It does.
I know. It
All the
matches
best
mine and
things
yours. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm
Have
really
you had a
glad
good
you're here.
time?
Yeah, I've had a good time. It only started getting really, really hot the last few days, but like been hiking so much, seeing friends, working with the team, driving EVs. It's been great.
Epic.
And now you're here.
I know. And now it's even better.
Yes, always. How long are you in Colorado?
For a week.
Wow, perfect.
Yeah, I know. We should do stuff.
You should.
Okay.
Okay.
We should hide though. It's so hot.
Let's get in the shade.
Bye. Bye. How cool is that? Bye. Red on red. And they're heading out. Bye, Holly. Nice to meet you. Bye, Norma. This is Norma, named after her great aunt who went skydiving at 90. Yep, that is the perfect name for a cyber orange Mach-E. Norma was fierce and so is this. Heading to the expo.
You know about this.
Ooh. Hi.
Hi.
Yay, Eric. So happy to have you here.
Happy, warm, sunny day.
Oh, it's so sunny. So hot.
Have you seen the beauty that's in this parking lot here?
There's so much beauty. And that's just in the people. Yeah. It is like the event's pretty over and people are still here. There's so many Mach-Es. It's been a great time.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye. Jordan is moving Springroll in whatever color green the VF8 is all the way over to Francie at this eruption green. It's going to be a green versus green. Who wins? Who wins? Yes, that'd be amazing. Fancy pony! Fancy pony time. I'm the worst with names. I believe this is Jen and Rick, but I do know that this is Lorraine, their Mach-E Shadow Black, and the plate is McFly. So you guys, if I got your name wrong, I'm so sorry, but I know I got Lorraine right, and she's looking gorgeous. Bye!
On display.
That is adorable. They got a fancy pony. That holder, I mean, it's a fancy pony holder. That's the only thing it's for, right? I knew it.
It is now.
Bye.
Good seeing you guys.
You too.
We'll see you over at the show.
Yeah. They're pulling things apart, and Jake is heading out in the Eruption Green Rally. McFly, Lorraine is heading out. It's been a great time. Oh my goodness. If for any reason any of our Denver friends are watching, thank you guys so much for coming. It really was this cool convolution of our Denver family, Denver friends. My mom was even there at the Cars and Coffee. And it's so cool to see the EV enthusiasm and the community all come together for this. But like Patrick said, Ford gave everyone free entry to Electrify Expo. So as the days started heating up, we were all able to then go to the expo for free.
Yeah, and it was great to get in for free, courtesy of Ford. It's not that expensive anyways. There's like $20 and there's always like discounts and stuff like that. So don't fret if you can't get a free pass. We saw like just the day before Electrified Expo, that was like 2-for-1 passes. I think attendance was a bit hurt because of the heat. Literally like the 3 or 4 days before Electrified Expo Denver, it was like all across the local news channels. Is like, if you have any activities planned outside this weekend, cancel them. Don't
stay
do them.
Indoors.
So it was like, oh, great. And there's a little bit of smoke in the air as well. But it was still a great time. Of course, as soon as you come in to Electrify Expo, you see the major car manufacturers there. There was Toyota, Ford, Volvo, Tesla, Lucid, Rivian. Rivian was there. It was exciting to see the R2, which we saw at the unveiling back in March. We heard they were going to have an R3, but they didn't have an R3, so I was a bit disappointed in that. But a lot of people were very excited by Rivian and all the manufacturers. They had Tesla had a Cybertruck that got a lot of attention.
And by the way, the expo did provide cooling towels to everyone. And we discovered very quickly, thanks to Ford with the Mach-E frunks just packed with ice and water, that if you roll a bunch of ice cubes in a cooling towel and then tie it around your neck, it's very, very helpful.
Yeah. I wish I would have checked the temperature because it was all on black asphalt. So I know that 102, I think it was on Saturday, was probably like 120, 130 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. It's so hot that... That's how hot it is. It works.
The other thing about Volvo, they did have the EX30, which of course looks great. A lot of people checking that out. It's such a great size, such a great price.
We have a reservation.
But it's been delayed because the first orders that were going to come to the U.S. are being made in China. Because of the new tariffs that have been imposed, they have decided to wait until they get their factory in Europe open, and then they will import them from Europe, where they won't have the tariffs like the Chinese vehicles are going to have. So it's sort of disappointing that they have it, and it's like it was getting close to being shipped to the U.S. and then now it's been delayed, I believe, a year and a half. Toyota, of course, was there with their very, very much focused on hybrids with the BZ4X, of course. Didn't really check them out too much. They were doing giveaways and stuff like that over there.
Hyundai was there.
With the Ioniq 5 and the Ioniq 5N, and they had one of the ones that went up Pikes Peak.
Did they? I didn't even see it.
Yeah, it was the one with the basically Pikes Peak wrap on it.
That would explain it.
And then it wasn't the one that like had the whole aero kit on it. It was just like sort of like basically a production model Ioniq 5N that they sent up with, of course, a roll cage added. I believe it had a roll cage. I think you have to have a roll cage.
If you don't know, by the way, Pikes Peak is a challenge, a hill climb challenge.
Yep.
And who won?
Ford with their F-150 Super Truck. I believe the winning time was like 8 minutes and 53 seconds, which was phenomenal considering they actually had a technical issue. So they had to like reboot the truck on the course. So they were like stationary for about 30 seconds and then took off again. And that time still counted. So they literally like had the fastest time of the day, even though there was like a 30-second standstill in the middle of their run. Phenomenal.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the technical glitch there, they never really said what happened, but they were able to get everything reset and keep going. But Ioniq 5, the 5N, they ran several vehicles up there. One with the aero kit and stuff like that had some really great times. I think it's like the fastest like production vehicle.
Unrelated to Electrify Expo.
EV production vehicle. Yeah. So back to Electrify Expo, we've done these tours before, so we're like doing a virtual tour and trying to remember everything that was there. The other section that was really cool was they had, because there was a conference called State of Charge, not Tom Malogny's channel, but unrelated to that, where on Friday and Saturday they were doing EV conversion classes and training, and a bunch of EV conversion people from all over the U.S. were in town to take part in that. And then some of those vehicles were on display. And speaking of which, we actually ran into some EV conversion folks that we know. It's so cool, like just being out here, hanging out.
At the Ford booth, at Electrify Expo.
And you never know who you're going to run into.
You never know.
Look
what?
who's here.
What? Who is this?
Look who I brought.
Wait, we can't even see you. Come over here. Come over here.
We got to get in close. Here we go.
Hey, man.
Who are these guys?
What are you doing here?
Here you go, guys.
Oh, hey, what's up?
No, we need
one.
This is very well scripted. Good job. But here are very good friends.
All right.
I'm sure you recognize Mr. G and Tom Summer from the EBLC, all the way from SoCal, here in Denver, all the way from New Jersey. New Jersey.
Came in from Jersey.
From Jersey. What you guys doing here?
Oh, we went to State of Charge.
Yeah?
Now, I'm a mile high.
He's a mile high. I'm going to flip around. I'm just going to stay off camera.
We went to State of Charge. That was a gas to electric expert convention. I mean, what were you doing there then? Well, you know what? I'm always learning. I don't know everything. So incredible. There was an amazing amount of people there. I'm sure you get I got to use some footage from that. And then we got Tom Summers, the excitable Tom Summers. Hey, man. He's representing the EVLC and checking out the scene. Drove out in his Tesla. Very cool.
Oh, wow, you did. That is awesome, man.
A large portion of which was full self-driving. Oh, yeah?
Nice.
Yeah, self-driving.
And there's some conversions on display here that we're going to check out in a little bit.
Some conversions, and I will say, my first conversion was 2008, and I got to tell you, the party just started. It is getting ramped up. People are doing high voltage conversions, super horsepower, and the prices are coming down. It's viable. If you're into hot rodding, this is hot rodding.
That's
Very
awesome.
Cool. And also, it's good for the shop teachers to teach the younger gen. about the conversion process. That'll get them thinking. Maybe they can work at Ford or Tesla or Chevy, who knows.
And Mr. G, if you don't know, he is a shop teacher out in New Jersey, teaching EV conversions, all that good stuff. He comes out to the EVLC on his summers. And these guys, I don't know what they're going to tell us publicly, but they were whispering secrets about their next project, which is going to make it more accessible even. Can you share anything, or is it just a big secret?
We're going mini. We're going smaller, small truck.
Yeah, we found that hiding all of the equipment and the components is kind of working against us because it doesn't lend itself to the imagination of young minds who need to like see where these components fit in the vehicle.
Yeah, I'm doing an experiment in Jersey. I got a K truck, which is kind of interesting. And it's a small vehicle, and it's not modified. It is basically a truck about a quarter the size, and all the components are right there, so you can see everything. So it's an experiment. I'm working on it, and hopefully I'll have it done by the end of summer. At least give you to get started. We'll see.
We'll try to get a link or something that we can put down.
Oh yeah,
your podcast.
My podcast, 2 podcasts. Shop Class Podcast, and then the EV Hangout is on Tuesdays.
Okay.
And then also Mr. G's Workshop in New Jersey. So we're going to do a conversion class and give it a shot.
We'll put a link to all of those, including EVLC, down in the description.
Yeah.
So, all right, thanks guys. Great to see you out here.
Yeah, cool.
We love you guys.
All right.
Likewise.
Cool.
It was so awesome and such a sweet surprise to meet people that we know from back home, SoCal now, in our second home, original home, Abuelo Tom and Mr. Ron, Mr. G,
Mr. G.
from New Jersey. That was really, really cool. And it was also cool to see all the conversions that they had.
Yeah.
We even saw a Mustang that we have a feature on in a previous video. We'll have to remember to put it up over there. It was an event at Redbox.
Like that, so we remember when editing. Yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful red 65 Mustang. I loved it. And the powertrain is from the same people that did the powertrain for the 65 Mustang that we saw at EV Fest. So that's where they basically got the powertrain and converted that Mustang. I'm trying to remember what else was out there. There was that Nissan that was out there that we saw also at EV Fest was here. The Electrex, which aren't EV conversions, but are like retro EVs from Colorado. That was also featured in our previous video. Just really cool seeing the conversions, and talked to a friend that went to the day and a half of the EV conversion classes and just said it was fantastic. Meeting everybody, there's a lot of exciting stuff happening in that space.
It was also really cool to see Lightship there. Obviously, Lightship has a new flagship facility in Broomfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we connected with them again, so we really need to go out there and check out their facility. They are super cool. We know a lot of you guys are interested in Lightship.
Yeah, these are all campers that you can pull with an EV or non-EV, actually. Really cool to see that section. And what's really neat is like they have features that are being, like electrifying. So you're not, a lot of times people will bring like a generator or something like that. Well, these have like onboard batteries. Polydrops has solar, which they're actually getting from Aptera. If you want more information about that, Charge Positive, he has a couple of videos on interviewing the CEO as well as doing some range tests on that.
And Polydrop, by the way, we were walking by and they were closed up, and I chatted with them, and the guy who was out there explained that they were closed because they were rescuing a baby. There was a baby that was getting overheated in the heat, so they took the baby into the Polydrop because it was air conditioned. So he was like, I would let you in.
Battery powered air conditioning.
Battery powered air conditioned. He's like, I'd let you in, but there's a baby in there being rescued. We're like, we're cool. That's kind of amazing though. And next to them was Campwork. They look like a really, really cool kind of similar concept. And I was really happy because they gave me a popsicle from a cooler that was powered by their Campwork. So
yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It was really neat the whole day seeing like all the stuff that was being battery powered. Once again, Anchor was like a sponsor. So all of the booths, except for Ford, were being powered by Anchor batteries, and of course Ford was powered by the F-150 Lightning, obviously. But then we kept making our way back. There was like a huge section, of course, of e-bikes, e-scooters, e-whatever, micro-mobility.
And kudos to every individual who went and actually like biked in that heat. It was brutal, but I'm sure the nice airflow and the assist from an electric bike was really helpful. It looked like people were having a great time.
And I didn't think about it at the time because my brain was just melting, but it's actually sort of a good selling point for an electric bike because like you may want to bike somewhere, but then when it's like 100 degrees and you're really suffering, it's nice to say like, okay, I'm going to turn on a little bit of extra boost and have the battery help me so I don't pass out to get home. So it's sort of like, it's actually a great selling point, if you ask me, of like doing it out there where it was very excessive heat. But it was really neat seeing, of course, like a lot of the brands that we've seen before. Super 73 was out there.
Stromer was there.
They had a kids section again, of course.
Yeah.
So just, these brands that are the ones that are stalwarts. Is that how you say it? Stalwarts of the industry that are just at multiple Electrify Expos. And giving people an opportunity to try it out. Because I know like when we looked before, like in Oceanside at e-bikes, there was like, well, this dealer has this brand, this dealer has that brand. And you have to like drive around if you want to try different bikes and they may not have the one that you want. But you go to Electrify Expo and it's like, it's your opportunity to see, 20, 30 different brands and try, do you like a scooter? Do you like pedal assist? Do you, all the different options with micromobility were available for testing. So that was awesome.
Super awesome. And this was also where it started to get a little noisy. And if you know, that was because we were near the hot lap section. So the Hyundai Ioniq 5Ns that Patrick mentioned earlier, they were doing kind of chill hot laps, like around in little donuts.
They were less noisy. Because they were wetting the pavement and then basically making it like a skid pad and doing donuts around that. And then that's about it.
And one really cool thing that we found out that they did in there, we didn't actually get a chance to do a hot lap with them, but they put a camera facing people. So we got to see some people's footage. We think that's really cool. So we proposed to Ford that they do that for their thrill rides, which were where it got kind of loud and crazy. So if you guys, maybe you remember Andre from two of our previous videos, he is a thrill ride driver. He's a pro driver. He will take you out in a Mach-E GT, the kind that you can buy and drive on normal streets and whip you around like you've never been thrown around before. And we actually got to experience a new driver. His name was Matt, and he's crazy. And so these are all like professional drivers. These are their jobs. They are so good, and they will drive that car like you didn't know it could be driven. I really like this hot lap route, which we did get to experience.
And you can tell how fun it is by Liv's hair in this video.
What's your name?
My name is Matt Jaskell.
Matt Jaskell?
Yeah.
You're going to take us for a throw ride?
I am about to do that.
I'm so ready.
You ready? We're
ready.
Hang on tight. That'll come right over.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
Here we go.
Oh my gosh, you're nuts. He's bonkers. Oh my gosh, you're bonkers. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Who's chasing you?
How's that?
That was super thrilling.
Fantastic.
That was super thrilling. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Have an amazing day.
Thanks,
Matt.
guys.
Bye.
It was just super cool. It's like we were sort of thinking like, well, we did a hot lap in Charlotte and in Long Beach. We don't need to do it again, but it's always fun. I'll do those over and over again. And I thought what was really impressive here at Electrify Expo was it was, so hot, as we've said, maybe once or twice. And it was literally like very quick. The laps were only about 30 seconds, but then people would get out, next group would get in, and then it would take off and do hot laps again. And they were just running it over and over again. So it was a pretty good, mini endurance test of the Mach-E. The 2024 Mustang Mach-Es have a new motor and other modified powertrain components. And they all, like I noticed, it has the performance boost in it as well, and the ones that we rode in. So
yeah, that was a great endurance test for the cars, for the handling and for how they handle being pushed super hard in the heat.
And granted, they weren't doing more than 5 seconds of acceleration because we didn't have that much room, but they were doing repeated acceleration and
nonstop.
If you don't know, the 5 second thing is gone. It's basically the Mach-E can, hit quarter mile Nobody's really figured out like if there's any type of limit, but
It's gone.
yeah, it's basically 5 seconds gone. Great performance, fast quarter mile times.
And by the way, a really sweet thing that we observed, like literally when we got out of our hot lap, we were just so excited. So we kept watching and filming. And there was a family there and they were like, do you have to be 18 to ride? And they're like, nope, 8 or 80 pounds or something. And them, like the parents and the kids were like, yay, and cheering.
And we watched
really cute.
other families like getting out. And it's like, it was fun seeing like the moms and the dads and the kids all just like, oh my gosh, you know, beaming after getting out of that. So it was really cool.
At this point, we were pretty close to the end of the whole circuit. It was like a weird little S thing, but this was where they were doing test drives. So right on the end, you could go and hop in, you'd get a wristband and just do test drives of every vehicle that was available. So at various times, you could see like Rivians cruising around.
Rivian, Lightning, Lucid.
Rallies.
Basically everything we mentioned.
Rally going.
And they actually, it wasn't just like go around in the parking lot. They had a course, you know, as we left Electrify Expo, we could see the signs of like where people were taking them on test drives. We didn't do any because we've basically driven almost all of these vehicles except Lucid. So it's like leave that for other people to get an opportunity.
Yeah.
But it looked like it was a lot of fun, and it's, you know, a great no pressure way of just going out there. You sign your waiver and then you can just try it out, and you don't get out of the car and somebody's like, well, how much can you afford per month? You just go on to the next manufacturer.
And it's cool to see people because you could like view them, look in the window basically as they're driving by. And there's like a different vibe from someone who's just like doing a no pressure test drive, I think. Because I remember seeing people like smiling, looking around, touching things, and just like being very authentic, not, you know, restrained in any way.
And our friend Dylan was there, and he was talking about his boss was there, and he's a gearhead.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, want to get him into the test drives. And I didn't necessarily hear how it went. But
we did, but we were melted at that point. I know he came over and told us, and I'm like, I
think he said he's still a gearhead, but he was impressed, you know, type thing.
Yeah.
You know? But it's like, you know, get people introduced into these things very slowly and easily. So,
and speaking of which, right at the end of the whole thing was their Electrified review stage. So us and Marlene were able to go and be and present. Basically, this was on Sunday. So we stood in front of a Mach-E GT. Marlene stood in front of it and actually battled a Tesla owner, which was really cool to watch.
And by battle, you know, they
amicably.
Yeah, it was literally, it's like, you don't need to go like, well, I don't like that, the way that one looks or something like that or whatever. The whole point is just like, tell us, you know, or from the host was like, tell us what you like about your car. So it's a way to sort of gloat about your car. And, you know, this is the way we approach our, you know, YouTube channel reviews of cars is like, I can find reasons to basically buy almost any EV that's out there, even the BZ4X, you know. And I'll just tell you, like, if you're just driving around town, you don't care about fast charging, although it charges better now, and you love Toyotas, it's a great EV, potentially, you know, but test things out.
But Marlene did a great job at just presenting the things that she loves about her Mach-E, and it'll be really nice to see her and the person that she was chatting with, whatever, share about what they like about their EV, because you know us, whatever you drive, enjoy the ride. If you don't know us, that's our tagline. So when we got to go up there, we just shared about what we like about a Mach-E, about the fact that we just drove almost 1,300 miles to get there. So it was really, really cool to do, and I'm excited to see how that comes out, like what it.
Yeah, and I think it's a fantastic series, and it makes us think it might be something that we try to include in some of our reviews. So, like if we review an EV6, maybe we'll give all of our opinion, but then give 5 minutes or something like that to find a local EV6 owner and say, like, now you tell us, why did you buy this, and what do you love about it?
Yeah, Patrick had that idea, like literally, I think, just after we drove in their filming segment, which was really cool because they had a follow car or a lead car with cameras and everything. So can't wait to see what like a high level production thing as opposed to us like sticking a camera in our faces. But Patrick had that idea of like, if we test the car for a week, we can't really get to know it quite as well as someone who spends a year with it. So agreed.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
So we got some ideas of, by attending Electrify Expo. And I think one of the coolest parts, though, for me for the weekend is we got to talk with the owner of Electrify Expo, BJ Birtwell. And he was kind enough to like sit down with us for, I believe it's about 30 minutes and talk about everything Electrify Expo. I won't tell you what he said because that's going to come up right now. Well, now I'm super excited. We're sitting down with BJ Birtwell. He's the owner of Electrify Expo. This is our third one that we've been to, and we're just so excited to sit down and talk with you about the origins of Electrify Expo and the success that you've already had.
Great, yeah, it's an interesting story because I'm actually, I was a big skeptic. Yeah. So I don't come from this position where I was an advocate or an enthusiast of EVs, and that's how Electrify Expo was born. I was a big skeptic. I grew up tweaking and tuning on cars, making them go faster and look cooler, and I always felt like, you know, if I couldn't hear it, I couldn't smell a car, then you know, that car lacked a soul. You guys ever heard that before?
Oh yeah,
So I had made up my mind about EVs before I even drove one. And then finally I had my experience in my first EV. Kind of by happenstance, I was back in 2016, I drove a Tesla Model S. Up until that point, if I was to see an EV on the road, I was kind of like, hey, that car lacks a soul, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's just, unfortunately, in many cases, if you talk to most car guys or car gals who have never had an experience with an EV, they probably have that position, and you see that a lot on social media. I don't know if you do, but I know, like, we do a lot of social on Electrify Expo, and there is a great volume of skepticism about EVs for a variety of reasons that we can get into, of course. But once you have an experience in one as a car guy or car gal, it's like I had my light bulb moment, and from that point, everything changed. So that was really the birth of this idea around, look, we're not going to drive broader EV adoption for electric vehicles by talking about climate change. We're going to drive broader EV adoption for electric cars by giving people experiences in them. Yeah. So what we do at Electrify Expo is we provide 1 million square feet of space for people to have experience in all things electric. So it's not just bikes and scooters and skateboards and trucks and cars. In some cases, it's personal watercraft. Yeah. It's all kinds of things. So we really feel like those experiences, they create light bulb moments, and that's going to drive broader EV adoption, and that's what we do here at Electrify Expo.
I think it's really exciting, and we truly get a lot of that pushback because we have a Mustang Mach-E, and I wouldn't say I was a skeptic of EVs, but I had my doubts. But then, like, once I got into the Mach-E and gave it a drive, like I turned into Subaru WRX.
Well, what were your doubts? Like,
well, I mean, of course, I had the normal, typical like range anxiety and stuff like that. But like coming from a WRX and going into the mountains in Colorado, it was like the fun of going into the mountains is downshifting, upshifting, revving, feeling that turbo kick in, and I was like, that's part of the thrill of it. And got rid of that, and then have like just the Mach-E, where it's just like you're driving and you're focused on the best angle going in and out of the curves, slowing.
Well, the thrill factor of EVs is absolutely there, just like it is in the WRX. It's just a different type of thrill factor.
One, yeah.
And the issue is with EVs is because they don't make a lot of sound, and you don't pump them full of gas, and you can't smell it. Is this idea that, okay, well, they're not going to give me that same type of sensory experience. Right. And so because they're not going to give me that same type of sensory experience, then they're not really for car people. And that's just not true. And until you experience one, you're probably going to continue to think that way. I won't name drop, but in Long Beach, one of the biggest EV skeptics came to Long Beach. We do a big festival in Long Beach. In California, and I personally invited him out. He's very on social media, very much vocal about EVs lacking a soul and them basically being appliances, but had never driven one. Finally got him out. I put him in a Tesla Model Plaid. He went 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, and that's totally changed his tune.
Right.
So, and this was somebody who was very much of an influencer on social, who was driving people to think like I was and like he was about EVs. They lack a soul, they're appliance-like, the government's just trying to shove EVs down our throat. And we were able to have a conversation like, look, if we want to drive broader EV adoption, this is not 2019, it's not 2016.
Right.
The consumers that were buying then, they were more eco-conscious minded, and it was in many cases it was environmentally driven. Not in all cases, but in many cases it was environmentally driven. Well, we've gone through that for that wave of consumer. That wave of consumer has already chosen to go electric. So we're now entering like the actual critical mass of consumers who, although the byproduct of owning an electric vehicle is that it's better for the environment, that's not the reason, it's not the motivator for them to go electric. So we got to change our messaging around going electric. It's not necessarily about the environment now, it's more about the features and benefits of the vehicles, just like people buy normal gas cars, and the fun factor and thrill factor. So we push more of that messaging. I think the faster we're going to drive EV adoption, and I love what Lexus is doing right now. Lexus's tagline for electric is as electric as you want to be. And so it's not like go electric, because there are state mandates saying that, you know, this state's going to only sell electric cars by 2030. And I'm just giving an example, or 2035. And that's just going to drive more skepticism in half of this America's population for people who are like, well, why am I being told what I have to do?
Right.
Like this country is built on choice. I believe in a free market. We should allow gas cars to compete against electric cars and allow consumers to make a decision on what they want to drive. So the more I feel like, the more that we do that as an industry, I think the faster we're going to drive EV adoption. The more we clamp down on the environment, the more we tell people that this is the way it's going to go, I think the more skepticism we're going to create, and the slower EV adoption is going to roll out. So
I 100% agree, because I've tried to liken it to like with cell phones. We had the old flip phones and whatever, and if there was like a mandate that said like you have to get an iPhone, we would have all been like, no, I don't want that. But just based on the experience of it, it's a lot better experience as a consumer. That's why we all switched to iPhones and Android. And I think the same thing. It's like, if putting people out here, letting them experience it, and the education portion is huge, because like there's so much negativity about doing a road trip at EV, which we just drove from Long Beach, Oceanside, all the way here for Electrified Expo.
how did that go?
It was fine.
Like, did you have to reroute yourself? Or was it a straight shot?
It was just straight shot. Everything went fine. The one place we did have an issue is Williams, Arizona. We couldn't charge because the charging station lost power. But the whole town lost power. So the people trying to get gas couldn't get gas either.
Okay.
So it was sort of like that same old thing.
Well, they get a mulligan, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then the interesting note about that, and I know a lot of people, like, they could have just went like the next town, which is what we were thinking about doing with our EVs. So that was an option for us. But when the power came back on, as soon as the power was on, the stations booted up, they were ready to go. But the gas pumps, they take like 15 minutes to cycle. So I was like, haha.
You were getting out of there
we have an advantage. But
that's a real challenge, though. I mean, I think that a lot of the consumers that are coming to Electrify Expo, they are first time, we call them e-curious. Like, they're just checking out this whole electric thing. They've shown enough interest to want to buy a ticket. Right. And come test drive and rip around these courses, which is great. So they're definitely like a mid-purchase funnel consumer. And I'm really happy that those types of consumers are coming into Electrify Expo now, because by the time that they leave the festival, they're much closer to being spit out the bottom of the purchase funnel and making their decision about, okay, this is the car I want based upon this experience that I had. But there is a very real challenge around those types of consumers understanding how range works and how charging works. And I was the same way. Like, I'm not an expert in kilowatts per hour or ampage. I don't even talk that language. It's actually a ridiculous language to talk to consumers. So the comfort level that we as an industry have to drive around new people coming into this industry is we have to use a much different language. But those are challenges that are very real. And I think that's why, going back to what Lexus is saying, is as electric as you want to be, is look, a fully electric vehicle is not 100% of the time the best decision for a family to make or for a person to make. Right. In many cases, a plug-in hybrid might be a better decision. And I love plug-in hybrids personally, because of course I would love to see broader EV adoption. Of course I want to see fully electric vehicles purchased. But for those people who are who kind of want a lily pad to fully electric vehicles, the plug-in is definitely the best way to go, because you get the comfort of knowing that, okay, that Shell station, that Exxon station, that Mobil station, they're on the corners, I see them, I feel comfortable out moving around. They're all there, but I get 40 miles or 50 miles of electric range, and then they learn that, oh shoot, I don't drive as much as I thought. I only drive 30 miles a day or 40. I'm not even filling up. I'm filling up my car every 2 months. What am I? And then they feel a lot more comfortable going into a full electric car. So I'm a big advocate for plugins for that reason, and they're becoming much more popular too. I don't know if you've seen plug-in sales, but
I've seen it. And I know, like, the Ford Maverick. It's like it's such high demand in the hybrid version, the Ford Escape. So I've seen it across the board. And like personally, like I don't want a plug-in hybrid, but I know I've advised many people. I was like, that's a good stepping stone, and especially it just like you said, it just gives them that comfort factor. And then when they start realizing like, just plugging in every night, and then now I have 40 miles I can go, then they start thinking, it's like, wow, wouldn't it be nice if I plug in every night and I have 300 miles I could go? That would cover even more of my daily usage. So that's really
if you have the luxury of plugging in every night.
Yeah.
Like 50% of the population don't have that luxury. So for those that do, they have basically fueling stations at home every day, which is great. But for others that I have to rely on a charging network, which in many cases are unreliable,
right.
That is a real concern, and that's another reason why a plug-in hybrid is a really good option. But for me, like I didn't go. I went straight from a gas car to having the experience in the Model S, and then being like, okay, screw this, I'm all in. I'll figure this whole thing out. And I had no idea what I was getting into, but I was like, it was such a great experience that I was like, all right, fine, I'm gonna try this. And what I quickly learned is I don't drive as far as I thought every day. I don't make as many road trips as I thought I'd do every year. This is like, I'm never going back to gas.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're seeing that like with a lot of our viewers and us personally. I remember before we got our Mach-E, the people that would say like, oh, once you buy an electric car, you'll never want to go back. And I was like, whatever. But then we got ours, and I'm totally there with you. It's like, it just worked for us. And yeah, I couldn't just like plug in and say, go to Denver, Colorado. And then when my low fuel light went on, go like, okay, I'll take the next exit and refuel. I had to plan out my route. And it really is like this minor inconvenience. But then we were like, talking about with some friends here about like all the different advantages. Yes, we can plug it at home, so that's a huge advantage for us. But even little things that get overlooked is like walking around our neighborhood, like every single driveway has like those oil stains in the driveway. And it's like
things like that.
We'll never have to worry about that. And it's like the smallest of things. And the reason I thought of it is like somebody was getting their driveway power washed, trying to get the oil stains out. And I'm like, they'll never have to worry about that again. So there's all of these things stack up, and I think it's really fantastic. What you guys are doing is like, it's like baby steps for people, showing
for sure.
what's out
like
there.
We've seen it. Like in the first couple of years of Electrify Expo in 21 and 22, it was primarily EV enthusiasts and advocates and people who are more eco-conscious minded. And then that all shifted. These are general mainstream Americans who I guess were like either like me or just kind of checking out this whole electric thing, and their minds are blown when they come here. Like it's awesome to see all the offerings too. Like for so long it was a one-horse race, right? And it was Tesla or basically nothing, because the vehicles that were out there in the mid 2010s, the design of them was kind of awkward and odd, and the technology on them was kind of weird and clunky. Fast forward to today, the automakers of the past 3 or 4 years have totally retooled their manufacturing facilities, spent hundreds of billions of dollars to go electric. Now we have all these offerings in the space, from pickup trucks to 3-row SUVs to compact EVs. It's like there's so much competition in the space now that we really have a really good selection of cars to go to, and it's just getting broader as more manufacturers come online next year.
Yeah, it's really exciting just like walking around here and seeing the different manufacturers and the different colors and the different whatever, because it's like I believe I looked it up one time, and there's like 250 different models of cars sold in the US. And if you have one manufacturer that's making EVs and they have 4 models, that's not going to cut it. It's like the variety, and it's like I'm not the one that can say like you shouldn't have a green car. If you want a green car, well, here's one, and it happens to be electric. And if you want one that's a 3-row SUV, now we have options for that.
It's funny. I think there was a time in California, and I could butcher this, but there was a time in California where if you had a green car, which at that point was basically a Toyota Prius or maybe a Tesla, you would get special access to like HOV lane.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they do that anymore, because it feels like in Southern California especially, I mean, it looks like 50% of the population has gone electric.
They've reduced it, because like we just moved there from Denver about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And there are still some of the roads where you can get like free HOV access if you have the sticker. But most of them, it's like they'll still charge you even if you have the sticker, like the newer ones and stuff like that. So they're like slowly eliminating.
You have to pay for the sticker?
You know, I'm not sure because I was like, I don't want a sticker on my car. and Liv and I are usually riding together, so I was like,
you're definitely a car person because some people would just throw that sticker on, but you want to keep it clean.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, they're going to spend so much money designing this car and making it beautiful and pretty, and you're going to shine it up on the weekend and then slap a sticker on it.
And I'm sure it's ugly.
I'll get there a few minutes later.
It's not like some special designer created that sticker. It probably looks hideous.
Yeah. Another thing that's really cool about Electrify Expo that I really like, because a lot of people, they think Electrify Expo, and I think what they see at their initial glance is like, it's like a car show. But first of all, it's like not only do you have the cars, but there's a lot of test drives, but you also have the micro-mobility, you have campers out there, we've seen a couple of campers out there, electric boats, and even stuff like the batteries powering pretty much the whole Electrify Expo. So it's like people get to see, like, once you put your foot into the electrification, there's so many other options out there.
Yeah, we'll do somewhere between 250,000 to 300,000 test drives this year, or demo rides. Many of those are first-time experiences, and the majority of those happen to be in micromobility products. Bikes, high-speed bikes, motorcycles, skateboards, scooters. So super popular here. So I think when you come into the festival, the footprint is taken up by these elaborate displays from all these auto manufacturers, so they take up a lot of space. So the feeling is that it's a kind of like an auto show, which I really despise that term because I feel like we're the antithesis of the auto show.
It really is, yeah.
But we're really a festival environment, and the bikes and scooters and skateboards, they process a lot of demos at every weekend. And here in Denver specifically, like this is a lot of bike enthusiasts in Denver.
Yeah,
so our bike zone has been pumping all weekend. So yeah, we're and that industry is really volatile right now. I don't know if you've been following the e-bike industry, but super volatile. Yeah. There's a lot of consolidation happening. We went through this time of COVID where people were really looking to get outdoors and be active, and so the e-bike industry just blew up. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners like starting new businesses and doing this e-bike thing, and now kind of reality is set in too. Like we're definitely in an environment where consumers are being more careful with how they spend money, and when that happens, your business model does not look the same as it did when it's just booming. And so there is some changes happening in the e-bike industry, but even with that, like there's a ton of bike manufacturers here that are just selling bikes. In Long Beach, specifically California, we had one e-bike manufacturer do $200,000 worth of sales in that one weekend. And that's not abnormal, but that's just kind of a number to show you how important an experience is on a bike. Or in a car. So once people have that experience, the raw emotion of that experience gets you closer to that sale. And so it's a really great place for people to try stuff out.
And that's something that we've tried to tell people, like, come out and try the e-bikes. Because like when we were looking for some e-bike stuff, it was like, this brand is at this store and this brand is at that store. You got to arrange to go do a test drive. And like here, you could literally one right after the other. Like I don't think you could go through like every e-bike here in a day. Like it would take you like 2 days to get
It's hard to explain it. I here in Denver, I was at a Starbucks and I was wearing my Electrify shirt. She didn't know I owned the festival, but she had seen like all the social media that we do, and she's like, why would I come to Electrify Expo when I can go down to a car dealer and not pay $20 and go do it? And I had to walk her through like the experience here and what it is. And so I think, this is not a car dealership experience. There's no sales pressure here. Like you're not dealing with any dealers. So all you're dealing are with people who are giving you stuff to go ride and try out. Like there's nobody looking over your shoulder and saying, hey, now that you've driven this, here, sign on this dotted line. And that idea of no sales pressure is very rewarding, I think, for people who come here and just feel like, okay, I can take a deep breath, I can experience anything I want, and then afterwards I can make my decision on what I want to do. And I think that's absolutely the environment we want to create here.
Yeah, it's definitely like we've done some of the test drives on e-bikes as well as cars, and it really is. It's like you got to sign your waiver as you do everywhere, but it's like there's no pressure. And I think the other great thing is at least with the auto manufacturers, they have a lot of experts. So you're not talking to like some salesman that, you know, no offense to the dealerships, some guy that was hired like 3 months ago. You're dealing with like some of the product experts
For sure.
for that vehicle. And then I know Long Beach, we spent a good deal of time talking to some of the e-bike people, and you're like, you start talking to them like, oh, you designed this bike.
Totally.
So you like literally
Yeah.
have like the experts. Like you're not going to get that anywhere else. It's a great
No,
experience.
I love that component of it. There's a lot of knowledge here, a lot of product knowledge. But for most people, they just need to know the basics. And the basics are, you know, how long does it take to charge?
Right.
You know, how does it feel to drive or ride? And what I see happen at Electrify Expo is the coolest thing. So you have product specialists and the brand ambassadors from each of the manufacturers who are there to answer questions. But what I see are people in line waiting to go demo, whether that be a car or a bike, and one stranger is next to another stranger, and they're talking to each other about the experience they just had. Oh, I just went and test drove the Rad Power. Oh, really? I was on the the Stromer, and they talk and they're sharing experiences, and then they're like swapping, and then this guy is now going to Rad Power, and this guy is going to Stromer bikes, and so they're having these experiences, and those are the very natural experiences, because I think I don't like to be sold to, and
Right.
I have a I don't know, a natural skepticism from somebody from a brand telling me all about their product. I want to hear from the person who owns it or who has just test drove it, because I know they're going to give me like a very I don't know, just raw conversation about really what this experience was like. They're not paid to tell me what I need to know. It's very raw, and I see that happening all over this festival. It's just people kind of meeting people for the first time and sharing those experiences.
That's a good lead into the new series you guys are starting, and we're actually going to be in it. We're going to go film that right after this, but you're going to do some like car reviews, but get owners like us to say like, what is it like to own a Mach-E versus a reviewer that had an hour with it, or a product expert from Ford telling you like rattling off stats. So I think that's a great series. We're excited to go film that. We filmed the first part the other day. So
yeah, thank you for doing that. We're excited to get into the edit suite and start putting those videos together. But I think that's one thing that Electrify Expo is very unique in terms of these review videos, for us at least, is that there's so many guest experiences that are happening, that to just grab those moments from those guests who just had an experience with that particular car or that particular bike, and then talk to a vehicle owner or a bike owner about that product, and then just taking those very real experiences and putting them together for a review. Because when an online user comes to listen or watch a review video, they don't necessarily want like a corporate shill telling them what this car is like. Like, that's great. Those people have great knowledge and they can probably talk to the features and benefits better than anybody.
Yeah.
But I really want to hear from somebody who owns the car.
Yeah.
Or who just had an experience in it. Like, that's going to give me a much more kind of real, genuine, knowledge about that.
And I think you're 100% correct. We used to volunteer when we lived here in Colorado, Drive Electric Colorado, Drive Clean Colorado, and we would do volunteer events. So we put our car on display and we're like answering questions. And I at first I was trying to be like the product spokesman, so they'd ask me like, well, how far did this car go in a charge? I'm like, well, it's 270 miles and it takes blah, 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 blah. And you could tell people were just, like, it just didn't compute. And they would have doubts, and they would say like, one of the biggest things was like, only 270 miles? That's not far at all.
Yeah.
So then I changed it, and it was like after we did a trip from Denver to Las Vegas. And I was like, well, we went from here to Las Vegas, and it took us less than a day. And the first charging stop was in Glenwood Springs. And they would go, you went from Denver to Glenwood Springs in that car without charging? I was like, yeah. And for people that live around here, they know, like, that's about 180 miles. So far less than that 270. But if you say 270, people, that's a number. They're like, that doesn't sound like a lot.
Yeah.
But if you say Glenwood Springs, you're like, wow, that's impressive. So it really is. It's like getting that real experience, not just rattling off stats and numbers, but saying like,
that's a much better way to communicate.
Yeah.
And give people a comfort level. LA to Vegas, no problem.
Yeah.
It's the same type of thing. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's all those little things, and something that might, like, somebody, again, it's like they may not care at all about a road trip, but it's like, you know what? I haven't done any maintenance in the past 3 years, and they go, what?
I know. That's a big deal. Low cost of maintenance and ownership.
But my brother, he had one of those questions too before he bought his first electric, and it was like, when do you do oil changes because it has to have some type of liquid. I was like, it literally says in the manual, the first time is 100,000 miles. And he's like, are you kidding me?
And what kind of fluid is that? Do you know that you have to change at 100,000?
It's basically the motor.
Is there a motor
fluid
okay.
or something? Yeah, I'm not even sure because I'm like, oh, I'll
probably
be on my
won't
next
own the
car.
vehicle.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's communicating, in what makes sense to the people. And I think, again, this is what Electrify Expo has been doing. This is our third one. We're hoping to go to more of these, experience more, and we were just talking about we're going to try to get a convoy of people in EVs going from SoCal to NorCal. We haven't announced that. We haven't really talked about it and worked out the details. So
that'd be awesome. We'd love to accommodate that. That's a important component of what makes our festival a little different too, is that we have a full area for what we call Electrify Show Off.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention that.
And that's kind of my background too. Is it's an area where we show off vehicles, EVs of course, that have been customized.
Neil Tin has done a couple of great Mach-E's that
he sure has.
We featured on our
so
channel.
Neil oversees all of Electrify Show Off and Outdoor Rec. So Show Off is basically full of a lot of Tesla Model 3s and Kias and other vehicles where people may have bagged them and put them on 22s and customized them. And then we have a whole section for Outdoor Rec where people are showing off, like Overland style vehicles where, there's Rivians and there's Lightnings there. And obviously as the industry has expanded, we're getting into electric side-by-sides, electric trailers and RVs and that whole lifestyle. So that's where we feature all of that. So it's just fun because you're not just coming here to experience, electric cars and trucks and bikes and scooters, but there's like customized cars. So say you're looking for a Model 3, but you don't want to be like everybody else because you see a lot of Model 3s in your neighborhood. You can come to Show Off and be like, oh, well, that's what I can do to make it unique. And that's what I can do. And there's all these brands here that are showing people how you can customize your EV. And that's, I think, one of the next big things is car culture. Almost not reimagine. It's kind of reimagining car culture, but it's like kind of this buildup of more more enthusiasm, and fanaticism around customizing EVs. That I feel like car culture has kind of slowed down over the past decade or two, and now I see kind of a resurgence of people who are customizing EVs, which I'm excited to see.
We started the Mustang Mach-E Club of America, and we're starting to do meetups, more and more meetups, and we're starting to see like people adding stripes, doing like there's one that's a bright pink wrap. So it's sort of like things that I wouldn't want to do to my car, but I'm like, it's so cool that people are starting to do these customizations.
Wheel tire offerings. There's more and more of these wheel manufacturers that are accommodating EVs. But from inside to steering wheels to seats to audio. To suspension outside, all types of things are happening right now.
It's like make it yours.
Yeah, for sure.
And back to the original point, they have a soul, by doing that. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. The expo's happening out there. We both want to go dive back into that.
I can hear the Ford Mach-E thrill zone from here. The tires screeching around.
We did that. We've done it multiple times, but we did it yesterday here, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's a cool spot to experience the thrill factor of EVs. Yeah, for sure.
Very cool.
Great. Well, thanks for having me.
So that was super cool. First of all, meeting BJ, like I have seen everything from Electrify Expo, seen his like he did an interview on Motor Trend a couple of weeks ago that I watched. So it was really great, and it felt really interesting because like I felt like we have like a similar type of view. Like I have always grown up like loving cars and loving stick shifts and the roar of engines, but it's like EVs are just fun. And if we get away from some of the political stuff or the environmental stuff, which it's important to me, but it's not necessarily important to like all of you or to people that we're trying to convince to drive an EV, and just go back to the fact that like, oh my gosh, they're actually fun to drive, and the whole myth that EVs don't have a soul. I believe our Lucifer has a soul. It's not possessed. It's just fun.
If you don't know the origin story of Lucifer, we've shared it.
Connected to here in Denver.
It is indeed. Google it.
So, and the whole idea, of what Electrified Expo is trying to do with what we're trying to do by sharing info about EVs is very similar, which is why we're trying to get into other areas that are connected, like micromobility and home solar and smart homes, making our lives better. And by the way, it's also better for the environment type thing. So
And it was really, really cool to connect with BJ and hear like his feelings around the expo and the way that he seems to like it to feel like a festival, like a fun thing, like a not necessarily a consumer thing. This is for people to come and experience and have fun.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to clear something up, by the way, in case there's any question. We are not incentivized by Electrify Expo. Don't know why that word came hard. We're not incentivized by Electrify Expo. We're not incentivized by Ford. If we're ever paid by anyone to do anything, if we ever have sponsored content, we are very clear about it and we will let you know in all the places, paid everything. We are not incentivized by Electrify Expo. We just think it's really cool.
Yeah,
we think it's really cool.
It's a lot of fun. And going back to the festival thing, like the stuff that we don't focus on makes it feel a bit more like a festival. There's with the EV conversions there and the EV modified EVs, they do awards. So there's like an award section. There's food trucks, but there's like DJs. So there's music all throughout. So it does feel very much like a festival. We don't focus on food and we don't focus on copyright music, but it really does feel like a festival. And if you get one where the weather is great, it's a really good time. We've only done Long Beach and Denver, so we're hoping to try some others and see how we like those as well. Let us know down below if you know if there's an Electrify Expo coming near you and if you're planning on attending. And, maybe if there's like 100 people attending in New York, we'll go to New York or wherever.
Absolutely. I want to go to all of them anyways. I want to go everywhere for all the things. That's a problem. But if you are interested, do go to Electrify Expo. It's a great time. Check out any content creators that you know in that area if you are local, because maybe they'll have deals or maybe they're doing a meetup for all we know. So Electrify Expo, and I'm just assuming this, they seem to just want to get people there and experiencing things. So kind of less about the ticket sales, since there's so many ways to get a discount. So if you're interested, keep an eye out on that. I definitely want to go to more of them. If you have input on things you want to see at an Electrify Expo, or at an event in general, or at Ford events or Cars and Coffee, leave it down below. Let us know, because we want to take the opportunity to elevate your voice and your wishes. I know people have asked us a lot of like, I wish there was an Electrify Expo here or there. Leave that down below. We will let BJ know, or message him on whatever social media thing if you want to. But like, we're happy to pass along your wishes. Someone said Vegas. There should be an Electrify Expo Vegas
in the middle of the night.
No, in the winter. In the winter, that'd be good. I agree. That would be great.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you so much for joining us for this video in which we came to Denver for a whole host of amazing adventures, including our Cars and Coffee with Ford, Electrify Expo Denver, and an intimate interview with BJ Birtwell, the owner of Electrify Expo. Let us know all your thoughts and feelings down below. I can't wait to do this again. I don't know about you. A huge thank you to our patrons whose names are scrolling across the screen right now. You guys don't know it yet, but we might have spent a good chunk of money on a new camera. So
we're going to test it out. If we keep it, it's a good chunk of money.
Yeah, we just want to get better and better footage. So thanks to your support, we were able to buy this thing that's hopefully really amazing, and maybe you'll see amazing footage soon. A huge thank you to our YouTube members who also support us so integrally, and to you for watching, liking, and sharing, because that is the basic support that we truly need. So on that note, just remember that whatever you drive, whether it's at an Electrify Expo or not,
yes,
enjoy the ride.
Bye.
Bye.